Put yourself in this position. You've never been on a hunt, you're using a stick and a string, and it's going to be televised on national television. If that doesn't build the nerves up, nothing will.
By now I'm shaking really bad. Oh, jeez. I'm scared.
In dealing with sponsors, I like to develop relationships with them, learn the wants and needs of their company, learn what their objectives are, learn about their media, learn about their marketing, so we can be fully effective in promoting their products in the television world.
I'm Brett Fulton, owner and inventor of the Ramcat Broadhead. We're down here working with the Trophy Crest crew, and just come down and do a little hog hunt and check the place out. I actually brought my wife Chris down here on her first hunt. She's in the business. She's in the archery business with me.
I'm Chris Fulton. I'm actually the wife of Brett Fulton, who produced the Ramcat Broadheads, and I'm in the business with him. Actually, I think I do most of the work.
She can talk the talk, and I told her it's time to walk the walk.
This is my very first hunt. I've never hunted before.
She come from a non-hunting family. They're a great family and whatever. They were just never introduced to the outdoors. And I thought this would just be the absolute perfect hunt for her to go on.
Here in Georgia, if you're attempting to properly manage your property for deer and turkey and in the things we like to hunt here in the South, the first thing you have to do is control your hog problem.
When we got there, we decided that Michael would go out with Brett and I would go out with Chris.
Slow morning, beautiful morning sitting there. Got me comfortable just with being in the woods, being in my stand, knowing how I was going to be holding my crossbow, my feet positioning, knowing I was going to stand up when I ultimately got a shot. So that was a good morning to get the feel of the setup. So even though we didn't get anything that actually came in, heard them, which was exciting.
First morning, Michael and I, the cameraman, we ended up getting set up. It wasn't really a lot of action over there. We saw some doe. We did catch some hogs moving through right at the point that we were moving out. It was basically not very eventful. I'm telling her and trying to tell her exactly how the experience is going to be and whatever, and you and I, everybody knows, you don't know what to expect until you do it yourself.
So we get back out that evening, and we have a lot of optimism. Hours went on, and Wynn looked down at me and said, "I just can't believe we hadn't seen anything yet." I said, "Me neither."
And as soon as I looked back up, I could hear the water splashing off to my right, and it was like a whole drove of hogs came running in.
And he's like, "They're coming." Well, that's when instant nerves set in on me. I'm like, this is the real thing, they're coming. I looked up the wind, making sure I'm ready to take the shot, and he's like, do it. And by now I'm shaking really bad. Oh, jeez. I'm scared. And I have the crossbow up, and hands are shaking, but I'm looking at my target. I know what to do.
Trophy Quest is brought to you by Service Central, the service offering at Tire Kingdom, MTB, Merchants, and Big O Tires. Black by Trophy Quest, Sense Science for the professional hunter. Crossbreed Holsters, leaders in holster concealment and comfort, handmade in the USA. The Sportsman's Guide, name brand shooting supplies at closeout prices. Stealth Electric Vehicles, join the stealth revolution. Ramcat Broadheads, hits like a ram, cuts like a cat. And Napa, get the good stuff. You're watching Trophy Quest, presented by Service Central.
Best thing about being involved with Ramcat, Brett and Chris, they're great people. I gave Brett a phone call and I said, we're overrun with hogs here in Georgia. And he says, I'm on the way.
In the first evening, we got all set up, same thing, same basic stand. And we had a band of 4 hogs that kept coming in. And these guys, you know, it was just like the 3 little pigs, there was the 4 little pigs. And I ended up telling my cameraman, Michael, I says, hey, Michael, I says, give me 5 minutes. We got to wait for a bigger one to come in. And they weren't coming, and they ate everything off the ground. And I said, okay. So I says, 5 minutes, 4 different times. And then I said, okay. I says, I'll whack him. So I draw the bow, and I'm standing there, and I am ready to squeeze the trigger, and something happened. I don't know what it was, and they just bolted, all bolted. And I mean, I had I had pressure, back pressure on. It was ready to go. They bust.
And I have the crossbow up, and hands are shaking, but I'm looking at my target. I know what to do.
She got a little nervous, but I was glad I was there to kind of calm her down a little bit. I just reminded her to think like you're in the backyard with Brett.
I'm scared. And I calm myself down enough to get the shot off. It's gonna die. Good job. It's all right. Awesome job. Wow. Never did that before. That was my first hog, and I felt all the adrenaline that everyone's ever told me about. I think I felt even more adrenaline. It's overwhelming. Shaking. Everyone tells me you shake. I didn't think I would, but I did. Hard. Stop shaking and get it. Okay. Ramcat did it. Watching the film really cracked me up, but it got me the experience, and I'm looking forward now to the next time.
We watched Chris's footage when they got back into the lodge because my cameraman called and said, gosh, if this isn't real, nothing is.
She loved it. You know, I'm so proud of her. I mean, it was just so crazy. She's like, oh, did I look silly? I said, boy, you look so cute. I wanted to be in the tree giving you a hug, you know, but couldn't do it. You had to do it. I'll tell you what, Wynn did an absolute awesome job in that tree, you know, as her cameraman and as her coach. It was just such a cool experience. And, you know, just the footage just speaks for itself.
It's always fun, no matter whether you're with a kid or an adult, to share their first hunt with them and their first kill. Chris is an awesome person. I enjoyed getting to know her. I talked to her many times over the internet and over the phone, and it was awesome just to sit down and meet her and see the excitement on her face when she did lay the hammer down on that hog.
The last evening, we get into the stand, we get everything set up. We take the side-by-side down in, we put everything, you know, we got everything set up perfect. And I'll tell you what, it's just an absolute beautiful evening down in that hollow. And I was praying that we got it done. My wife Chris at that point had hers taken care of. And I'm thinking, boy, I got to get it done tonight, you know, because this is it, we're leaving. And I'm looking, and all of a sudden, they're coming out of the swamp. And I says, it looks like there's a decent sized hog there, you know, one or two. One of the bigger sows, she comes in, and it was just like, I'm not gonna fool around right now. We gotta get the job done. So I'm not gonna sit there and wait for any of them to get spooked and blow the last night. So I asked him, I said, are you ready? I said, we gotta do it. The largest sow got out against a tree, and I put a pocket rocket on her, man. I just pinned her right to the tree with a Ramcat, and she just exploded and took off, you know, and turned around, and she just did a semicircle to try to get back into the swamp, and we knew she was done right there. But yeah, we lowered the boom on her, and I looked up at Michael, you know, and he was, you know, we high-fived and everything like that. So it was really cool. It was just like, and he knew that when that hog came in, I says, I got to put the smack down on her, that I wasn't going to let her feed out or anything like that. She was right there, all the piglets cleared, you know, it was a nice clean shot, and I just took the heart right out. Look here. Instant blood. This is the entry wound here. Passed through and stuck down in the root of the tree. Turned and she ran that way. I'm gonna try to dig that broadhead out of the root of this tree here. That's what happened. It stuck in there, and when she took off, there was still a little bit of that in her. She turned around and snapped it right off. Yeah, that's it. I think this is poison ivy. I'll be in good shape tonight. Did you see that any better? Oh. She didn't even slow it down. That broadhead ain't never coming out of there. Come on, baby. When she took off, that's how that body ferrule bit. She took off with that back in her, snapped it off right there. Chisel tip and blades are in great shape. That's awesome. That's penetration. Wow, 7 o'clock. And we had to make her happen, and boy, we did.
What a pleasure it was to have Brett and Chris down to our lodge in Georgia. You know, in outdoor television, sponsors are a necessity. And to have sponsors like Brett and Chris just makes it an absolute pleasure.
John has done gone and stole Landon's tackle box, dude. It has Scooby-Dooby reels in it and everything.